All right, now we have all of the different types of stretching. We'll start with ballistic stretching. I refer to it in some of the other chapters, but ballistic stretching is using momentum to move your body or the limb throughout a greater range of motion than the flexibility actually is allowing it to. We associate this with bouncing or forced stretching. This is a very kind of taboo form of stretching because it can easily lead to injury because you're forcing your body to move in a not in a relaxed position. Next is static stretching. Static stretching is stretching a muscle to its farthest point and then maintaining or holding that position. Nothing more than that. It is a gradual ease into that position and then holding it. Now the amount of stretch that you move through depends on the objectives. It's a great stretch to use for cool down or for range of motion, but you're looking at a 10-second hold in a cool down versus a 30-second hold of a stretch to improve range of motion. Next, active stretching, also referred to as static active stretching. This is where you hold a position or pose with no assistance other than the agonist muscle. Now the tension of those muscles in that stretch is what helps to relax the muscles being stretched, the antagonist muscles. So by contracting the agonist, you have the relaxation of the antagonist, and that relaxation leads to their lengthening and stretching. Active stretching increases flexibility and strengthens the agonist muscles. Passive stretching, also referred to as relaxed stretching or static passive stretching, is where you take a position and you hold it. And you're not just holding it by contracting the muscles like you did with active, you're holding it with another part of your body with the assistance of a partner or an apparatus, a strap or something else to assist you. This is slow, relaxed stretching, and it is especially useful in relieving spasms in muscles after an injury, and is also great for cooling down. After a workout, it helps reduce post-workout muscle fatigue. Dynamic stretching. Dynamic stretching I can best equate to something you see in the warm-up portion of a group exercise class. It's movement where you're progressing to a greater extent of movement throughout repetition of that movement. It involves moving different parts of your body, gradually increasing the range and the speed of the movement. It's not ballistic because it's not forced or jerky. It's controlled movement, and it gradually increases over time. So dynamic stretching, controlled swings. You can still swing, but you're not forcing it. You're not using momentum or gravity to aid in the range of motion. It's great for a warm-up, as I mentioned, and a great series of stretches that takes you through several different body parts. Isometric stretching, it's different than static stretching. Now, static stretching was getting into a stretch and holding it, gradually working your way through a range of motion and holding it. This involves resistance of the muscle groups through an isometric contraction. In this, you are contracting the muscles that you are stretching. So you're helping to develop strength in the tensed muscles, along with improving the static active flexibility. Now, the types of assistance that you can have in an isometric stretching: manual assistance, partner assistance, or wall assistance. Isometric stretching is not recommended for children or adolescents whose bones are still growing because the amount of tension that you're putting on the tendons themselves. And it is recommended that you want to precede any sort of isometric stretch with dynamic strength training. Next form of stretching is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, or PNF. This is a very active stretch, which you are trying to do. It's got a very set protocol where you are contracting a muscle while lengthening it, then relaxing. There's two different types of PNF stretches. There's contract, relax, and then there's contract, relax, agonist, contract. I will read through those, but remember they're forms of contracting the lengthened muscle. So in contract, relax, it's an isometric contraction of a muscle followed by relaxation, then stretching to the point of limitation. Now contract, relax, agonist, contract, another isometric contraction of the muscle followed by relaxing, stretching that to the point of limitation, then contracting the opposing muscle, the agonist muscle, followed by another stretch to the point of limitation. Like isometric stretches, these are not recommended for children or adolescents. Myofascial release. The fascia surrounding muscle fibers, fascia binds every part, all sorts of muscles and organs throughout our body. And so to release tension in those, you want to go in a direction perpendicular of the muscle fibers. Principles of myofascial release is that you want to take the stretching of one area will help, will benefit other areas of the body, and also help release tension in organs in the rest of the body. And guidelines for myofascial release, you want to focus on the fascia around the muscle that helps to constrict that muscle. You want to apply pressure perpendicular to the fibers to release tightness. You want to hold for 20 seconds or 3 to 5 deep breaths. Now, factors that limit flexibility. There's a good table in the book. We have it broken down into internal or external influences, but I'm going to focus on hydration, bone structure, muscle mass, excess fatty tissue, connective tissue, physical injury or disability, aging, and strength training.